Choose your character. Player 1. Time. Player 2. Empty. Level 1.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for episode 8 of the Total Evercade Podcast. Good evening, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us live. We have got a stacked show this evening. There's lots and lots of things we need to cover. So let's have a quick look in the chat here. We have Nicholas Skippins. Hello, good to see you. Dan Nastic, nice to see you too, my friend. There is lots of people here. Mr. Ian, hello, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I haven't replied to you, but thank you so much for sending me that Silent Hill link. I think we have lots to talk about. Lamney Pie, evening. Mr. Taylor, wonderful to see you. Welcome, Mr. Nick C as well. Mr. Craddock, how do? Looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Excellent. So thank you everyone for joining live. With us this evening, we have the usual panel members. We have Mr. Blunners.
Hello, you right?
Excellent, good sir. Thank you. We have Mr. Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to always be here.
Exactly that. And then, of course, our guest of honor, as always, is Sir Top Hat, Mr. Derek. How are we doing, sir?
Good evening.
Excellent. Full of enthusiasm, as always. It's wonderful to see you guys. I missed you all last week, but I did tune in for quite a bit of the episode, which we'll obviously get to in a bit of time. So, yes, can't wait to talk about some of those releases with you guys. So, as always, let's have a look at what is the latest news and what we have been playing. So I think I know what a couple of you have been playing quite a lot of. So let's go to Mr. Blunners. What have you been playing?
So I've been playing the Team 17 kart. So yeah, my favourite game on here is ATR, All Terrain Racing. I remember playing that as a kid. Also, I quite like Quark, and Project X as well, but I find that a bit rock hard. Like, you're shooting the hell out of everything, and then you get touched with a little dot, and then it's just like you're dead straight away. But yeah, so once you get to know the patterns and everything, it start to get better. But Body Blows I found a bit hard because I didn't realise at first. I hadn't read the manual. I didn't realise it was only a one button presser, so I'm keep pressing Y and it sends me straight back to the main menu, which didn't annoy me too much, honest. But no, other than that, it's a very good kart. There's some games I vaguely remember. Like I said, I remember ATR and I remember like the Alien Breed games, but some new ones on. I don't remember playing Quark as a kid. And I vaguely remember Body Blows, but obviously I don't remember playing it because I wouldn't have been so bad at it. But yes, so that's all I've been playing really at the minute.
And would you recommend the Team 17 kart?
Yes, I would recommend it. It's really good to play some Amiga. Really, I really, as I said, it's been so long. I was just couldn't wait to play it really. And with the announcement of the number 2 at the showcase, I think that's one I'll be getting as well.
Okay, because I must admit, I'm in the market for a new kart. So I think the Team 17 kart is on the it's on the it's on the possible list. It's on the possible list. So okay, and let's go to Mr. Ryan. I think I know what you have also been playing, but what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I'm the same as Blunners. I've been playing Team 17 and Pico Collection 3. I know we're going to be covering them in a bit more detail in a minute, but I've really been enjoying Radical. No, is it Radial Bikers?
Radical Bikers.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, there's a typo on the back then.
Yeah, it is
Mate,
on
makes it
typo on the
rare.
back, actually. Yeah, well spotted. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Makes it
Yeah.
rare. Early
I wondered
print.
if anyone would catch it. Yeah.
I've accidentally got that because I honestly,
Whoops.
if you'd said the game was ready, all bikers,
Yeah,
I'd
they
have
spent.
believed you.
Yeah, they didn't put the K in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, Radical Bikers, really good on Pico 3. Really enjoy it. I know we're going to cover this collection in a minute. So yeah, that's mainly what I've been playing, the Team 17 and Pico 3, which we are going to be reviewing very shortly.
Excellent. And just a snapshot, would you recommend either of those as well?
Yeah, I'd recommend both of them, but not for every game on both of the cartridges, and I'll get
Okay.
to reasons why. But I think there's enough quality on both of them to pick them both up. Definitely.
Excellent. Excellent. And Mr. Derek, is it a hat trick from you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Commodore 64 Collection 2,
Ooh.
namely Mission Impossible. Yeah, I had it originally on a cover tape when I was much younger, and it's a great game, and it's got some really awesome bits, the spooky city and a wonderful snow level and things like that. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that and really enjoying it. It's in case people are wondering about the map that you pick up throughout it, you've got to pick them up in a certain order. So if you go over a piece of map that you can't pick up yet, obviously you won't pick it up. So yeah, it's not a fault in the game. It's just you've got to pick them up in a certain order. But yeah, it's a great fun game, and I've had a lot of fun on that this week. And obviously, like the other two, I have obviously been playing a bit of Team 17 and Pico. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Yeah, bringing back some great memories with the likes of Alien Breed and Project X. And also, as I say, the Pico collection has got some real good classics on there. I'm enjoying Metal Mech and also Radical Bikers, because it's just such a really great, fun game. You could just pick it up and literally put the pedal to the metal, and you've got to try and get to the finish line. There's drivers everywhere, you know, and it's just crazy. You've got to corner as tight as you can. There's some great jumps and also some awesome shortcuts to look out for. So that's definitely worth checking out.
Excellent. And a recommendation from you as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say it's there's a lot of hidden gems on that Pico collection, and I think everybody's going to enjoy the Amiga collection one way or another. Even if you didn't grow up with it, or you're not nostalgic, perhaps you had an Atari ST or something like that back then. Honestly, give it a go. You won't be disappointed.
No problem. When we get to the section where we're going to talk about those carts, I'll throw in which one I am probably most likely to pick up ASAP, and there is a specific reason I think for that as well. So, in latest Evercade news, I am hearing through the grapevine, and the grapevine is Ryan, but I'm hearing through that grapevine that the Atomic VS pre-orders have sold out. Is that correct?
Yep, 48 hours. Yeah, 48 hours, they were all gone.
Wow. 2,000 VS units sold out.
Dan got one.
Oh, excellent. Dan got that there. That's incredible. That is a pretty good sellout, I think. I mean, 48 hours, 2,000 units. I mean,
That's
wow.
really good,
Yeah, a lot quicker than they got rid of the Founders Editions. Obviously, there were more of those, but yeah, a lot quicker. And yeah,
it was a good one. It was good to put
fantastic.
Duke Nukem, the collection, both of them in there with it.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
if you take that money off there, it doesn't seem as bad then, does it? When you're thinking, actually,
Well,
works
I
out
think
about 60 quid or whatever.
I think it's for me personally, the Atomic VS is for me like a step in the right direction. If you're going to do an alternative system, and there are people out there that collect systems. You know, I know I've got friends that have got many PS3s, many PS4s, because they want the exclusive branded God of War PS4, and then they want the Final Fantasy PS4. So I think this is a really good way to kind of, if you want to do that for a really big release like Duke Nukem, I know it's not necessarily a Duke Nukem branded VS console, but it is, I would say, heavily inspired by that, to the point where you can market the two together and it sits right and it feels good, you know. So I think that's a good way to go forward. I'd quite like them to see them do a branded EXP at some point with a particular system or a particular character. I think you've mentioned this before, Derek, about having, you know, character skins to go on your Evercades, but it'd be cool to have a dedicated branded one where it's got some sort of etching on the back, which is specific to character X or whoever it is. But yeah, I thought that's excellent news, especially for people that have managed to get one. That's pretty good going. In the world of Evercade, is there some other news people want to jump on before we get to our first topic of the evening?
Well, just before we move.
yeah.
Oh, go on, Derek. I was just going to ask if anyone here ordered a Atomic VS. I didn't get round to ordering one because I've got probably just see it behind me there, a black limited edition VS, which I'm quite happy with.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd literally just bought my VS last month, so I'm gutted. I'm not even going to laugh.
Isn't that always the way? Any other time, yeah, they wouldn't have done one. Yeah, it's crazy.
What about you, Derek? Did you manage to jump on one, or
we will have one live here on the show in November? I can guarantee you that. So we're going to have it rigged up. We're going to have a look at that new UI and those cartridges. So yeah, there will be one here in November. So yeah, live in the studio, we're going to have a look and see for ourselves what all the buzz is about. So yeah,
fantastic.
If you're viewing, make sure you're here in November.
Can't wait. Right, just while we jump onto the next topic, then the next topic is the showcase retro. Oh no, Ryan's
I was just
on.
going to say we have got a bit more news. I know Derek was going to mention some news, but I was just going to mention there was a little bit of controversy with Evercade last week following the showcase regarding this specific picture. I didn't. This was used in the marketing, I believe, and I didn't pick up on anything at the time.
No,
but apparently, a lot of people in the community picked up on that is an AI-generated photo, which has upset quite a few people. That Blaze have paid an artist, this is my understanding, and they've used AI to generate a picture of Duke Nukem. I'd never noticed myself. Wouldn't necessarily upset me, but I understand that some people were disappointed with that. But Blaze have issued a statement saying that they're going to not use that artwork anymore, and they're going to get a new artist to produce the artwork for Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I mean, what a disappointment, I've got to say. It always seems with Blaze, they do a great announcement, and like a drunk, they take one step forward, two steps back, and it really is absolute nightmare. I mean, with the EXP, we had Andrew Wyatt issuing statements the day after with the Capcom games, and then this time this has happened. It is such a shame, to be honest. As I say, I mean, a lot of the people that complained about this sort of thing don't even own an Evercade or even know what it is. But I bet they've scanned their own shopping at Tesco, and I bet they filled their own car with petrol, and that's done away with people's jobs as well. But It is what it is. I mean, if somebody wants to make a choice to use an AI artist, I think that's up to them. I don't think it's up to us whether we can control them or not, or say what they can and can't do. Obviously, it has got some people's backs up, but they're going to try and put it right and get an independent artist to do the new pictures, and hopefully we'll see them soon. Yeah,
it's a shame because the image itself is cracking. It's a really cool image, and I didn't even pick up on the fact that he had 4 fingers and Terminator legs or anything like that. It was just,
I didn't even notice.
No, it was one of those things that someone else obviously picked up a bit later in the day. But as a few people have said in the chat, I don't see what the problem is, and it doesn't bother them. I have to admit, it doesn't overly bother me either. I take the point that there's the possibility of it, like you said, Derek, of it possibly putting people out of business or something like that. But at the end of the day, if it's an artist doing it, or you've commissioned someone who's just going to use AI to do it, you still commissioned a person, I guess, to actually do the
money still went to that guy. So
yeah, exactly. So if he wants to use an AI generator, that's fine. I know there's a sect amount of people in the retro community that think it's dreadful, or it's bad blood, or whatever it is. But I mean, unfortunately, it's almost the way that the world is moving forwards. I don't know. I don't know, but I do agree with you, Derek. It is a shame because it was a really good series of announcements that's now sort of people have jumped on this as well. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to have drowned out the announcement, which is great.
No.
It's just sort of there on the periphery, just sort of over there, loitering. But yeah, fingers crossed they'll get some absolutely cracking artwork that will come in its place now. And
Well, funny you should say that because I have created some Duke Nukem AIs for this episode.
Let's have a look.
And and if Blaze want to contact me and use any of these, so here we go. Got Duke Nukem on the beach. Got Duke Nukem. I don't know what that was. I think that's at war. Got him in. I think that's in France. Got him at the Super Bowl.
Continental.
These are
Look at
incredible.
that. That's a good one. Look at that. I like that.
Oh, lovely.
There's a wrestler. Looks like Dolph Lundgren.
It does.
That's meant to be Duke Nukem meeting Mahatma Gandhi, but I don't really know what's happened there.
He's very big.
Yeah, and we've got Duke Nukem meeting Winston Churchill. Something's gone slightly awry there.
Wow, look at that.
Yep, I think that's in either London or Paris. I can't remember. And
Ooh la la.
then we've got him there just looking mean with a gun. So yeah, if Evercade want to use any of these, that's my personal favourite. Yeah,
I mean, that
feel
sort
free
of looks a bit like
That'd be-
Iceman, doesn't it? It looks a bit like Val Kilmer as Iceman if he was sort of ripped to anything.
How cool would that be? Use that on your artwork. No one can.
Yeah.
Got 2 belly buttons there, mate. So someone will immediately jump on that. Oh, you've used AI. He's got 2 belly buttons.
Yeah, look how ripped he is. Like, Jesus.
That's insane. Insane, mate. They're brilliant. I think we should do that next week as well. We'll see what other AI artwork we can get in for the next episode. We'll let people pick in the chat throughout the episode. Throw it in the chat bar what you would like us to try and make AI generated images of, and they must be either Amico.
Oh, those
Do not say that word.
Freudian slip there. I was just trying to think of weird things that you could do with the AI, and I thought the Amico would be a fun thing to.
quick in the block
That's
button.
for another episode. Pick collections that you would like us to get AI generated images done for, and we'll see what we can get for the next episode. That can be a fun feature coming forward.
A character on the Evercade, maybe. So like Earthworm Jim, for example.
Yep. Okay, I'm in. This sounds interesting. Okay, so moving to our next topic of the evening, and that is the Evercade Showcase retrospective. So the showcase has happened now. People, I know you guys watched it live. Hopefully people in the chat watched it along with you because it was a excellent episode. I had to watch it from Greece and catch up with a bit of it in the morning as well, and I thought it was a really good fun time. I was really gutted to have missed out on that one. But the showcase has now happened, so we've had time to possibly watch some of the bits and digest it a little bit, and see. Let's see what people think now. So let's go in the opposite direction. So Mr. Derek, now that you've had a couple of days now to sort of absorb the information, what do you think of the showcase now?
Yeah, I mean, they announced 6 collections. I think that was about what people were expecting. Yeah, I mean, a reasonable mixture there of sort of modern with Sydney Hunter. And then obviously they had Dolphine and Sunsoft, along with our friends at Pico, obviously delivering that arcade collection. And both of the Duke Nukem carts, which are pretty special. It was a guy called Nikolai Fogavondov who did the remasters. Reached out to Nikolai in the week to have a little chat with him. Unfortunately, he wasn't available for comment at that time, but in future episodes here, perhaps we will have linked up. Most importantly, I mean, the thing is, what people have got to remember with this is that these games were taken from the DOS system 1 and 2. They were reverse engineered. Basically, they were integrated. I mean, Nikolai invented the Regal engine. He was the author of that. and basically he made a modified version of it for Evercade hardware, and he
Wow.
implemented these in, and basically these two remasters, there's no emulation involved whatsoever.
Wow.
So
Wow,
yeah, when
that's
you
good.
see the integrated, the upscale graphics, the widescreen support, the smooth scrolling, the 60 frames per second. I mean, we could have only imagined that when it was on DOS. But yeah, all this. I mean, the parallax scrolling. He's even redone, re-recorded music, and obviously even redesigned the HUD, like the mini maps and the menus and things like that. So yeah, I mean, he's done a tremendous job there, and at least for the time being, these are going to be exclusives for Evercade, and I'm absolutely thrilled about that, because obviously Nintendo's got their Zeldas and their Marios exclusive to them. The PlayStation, the Xbox have got their things like Halos and stuff. We wanted something here for us, and to have those two remasters, I think is really, really special. And hopefully this will be the one to maybe shift a few units.
I mean, that's incredible. I didn't realize that it was non-emulation. This is sort of running directly from the cartridge.
Exactly.
And
He had to disassemble these basically.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's the
well
thing,
done.
and then integrate them in, as I say, to a customized engine. So yeah, it took a lot of work.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
yeah, I'm really proud they went to this trouble, and I'd like to see them do more in the future with remasters.
Yeah, for sure, especially for DOS stuff, because I mean,
Yeah.
I never got to experience the original Duke Nukem 1 or 2. It was not even on my radar. My first experience of Duke Nukem was Duke Nukem 3D, as it probably was for quite a lot of
Yeah,
people.
so
So
me,
to be able to go
But
back and play that original stuff is great.
here's the great crux of it. As you said, you never played the DOS versions. That is music to my ears, because on this collection, you will be able to select the DOS versions instead of the remasters if you wish, and play the originals. So you'll actually get a chance to enjoy those original versions as well, which I think is a huge bonus to the collection, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. That's amazing. That's basically like being able to do the Halo remaster when they did. You could do the original graphics or the remasters.
Yeah.
That's great. That's absolutely fantastic. I did not know that at all.
Commander Keen.
Excellent. Mr. Andrews, what? How do you feel about the showcase now that it's had a bit of time to settle?
I think that at the time I was a little bit, it's all about Duke Nukem, and I didn't, and I was all about Duke Nukem 3D, and I don't think I really took in the fact that those two games had been remastered in a sense solely for Evercade. So I think that's as Sir Top and Hat just said, that's a massive thing for Evercade, and it's going to be an exclusive on Evercade. So I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think that the fact there was no shoot 'em ups or Tarte mode games in sight is another bonus for me. So excellent. It gets a double thumbs up for that. That is really, really good. And the games graphically look miles away from the garbage in Television 2 that we had last year that was being brought out. And I know people like in Television, but I've got no nostalgia for it. So I'm not going to enjoy those games. They're way before when I started playing video games. So yeah, the games look nice. I think Delphine, I'm looking forward to playing. Is it Another World?
Yeah, that was a huge game back then. Yeah.
And Flashback as well. They're really nice looking games. And yes, the controls might be a bit clunky nowadays. But then so are a lot of games. And for someone to say, it's going to be really hard to control. Well, unfortunately, a lot of games from sort of the mid 90s are difficult to control. However, I think they're going to be fun to play. I think Sydney Hunter is a big coup. I've never played it, but I hear the noise on social media. People have been calling for that game since Evercade first came out. So I think that's a really big coup for Evercade to get that series on. And even I'll be honest, even the Intellivision version of Sydney Hunter looks okay. Actually looks better than any of the. It looks all right. I quite like it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. Pico Arcade. Again, we're getting some fighting games, so we'll be able to play a bit more sort of versus games on the VS. So that's good. One thing, Sunsoft, I don't really know much about, so I can't really comment on those games. But the only thing that concerns me, and I'm sure so Top Hat, you'll be able to answer this, are the Duke Nukem games going to run on the OG Evercade?
Yes, there's every intention for them to run. So yeah, at the moment, all plans are with the remasters and with the other Duke Nukem games for them to run on the original handheld.
Okay, excellent.
Yes,
That's a positive.
it's
'Cause
music
that was
to my
just
ears, that is.
yeah, because that's just my concern because they look so good. It's like, will
Yeah.
they run?
Even I had to
on
ask the question. Yeah, I was surprised, but yeah, they will.
Okay, well that's good. And even at the time, I thought, oh, another VS, more hardware. It's like, does anyone actually want this thing? But the fact that it sold out within 48 hours, they do. And I know Dan the Games Man, who's a YouTuber, and he's I know Ollie's NintendOlly's met him, top bloke. Check out his channel if you haven't already. He picked up a Atomic Edition VS because I don't know who these are for, and he just replied, they're for me. I haven't got a VS, but I've got an Evercade. So there you go. So yeah, I think all in all, good. Little bit, it was a shame about the picture, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. And yeah, hopefully Evercade will just keep with this really positive forward momentum.
That sounds like a very, very good suggestion, Mr. Andrews. Mr. Blunners, how do you feel now?
Yeah, I think I marked it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think you guys. I think someone went 7, but I'm sure I went 8, and I'll still stick by that. Really, I have had a look through the Sydney Hunter game. I really want to play. As I said, there's a few carts there I'll definitely be picking up. There's a couple that I've got to do a bit more research on, like the Pico one, but I think was Master Blaster on that one.
That's on the Sunsoft.
Yeah, on the Sunsoft. Sorry, on the Sunsoft one. Yeah, and I've got them. I've got the original ones on the on my Switch, and yeah, it's amazing game. And so yeah, so I was a bit mixed on the time, and I was a bit, like you said, we just wanted something really big, and I think the Duke Nukem, like, when you do think about it, is a very good pickup. And like you said, they have remastered through the others as well. But obviously, that's kind of the same as Ryan. I was a bit concerned that it wouldn't work on the OG because I've still only got the OG at the minute, and I'm quite happy it does still work on that. So yeah, so all in all, for me, I'm quite looking forward to the carts that are released. Like just a little couple of nickels, maybe a bit. I'm saying we're getting less and less games now on carts, but I would rather have quality over quantity, if you know what I mean. Because like when we go to the Amiga, there's at least two games on there I don't even think I'll play again. So to me, it's no different than companies' cartridges that are coming out, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one, which we'll talk about later as well. But yeah, it's really I thought it was quite good, and it was a good first one, and I quite enjoyed doing the show as well. So
yeah,
more of the same, please.
Yeah.
Well, I chatted to Blunners before we went on air, and neither of us got an EXP, and I was a bit anti at the time them bringing out a new VS. And then I'm like, I really hope they bring out like a Duke Nukem EXP that I can pick up because I haven't got an EXP, so that would be perfect. And I know Blunners, you would be all over that, and NintendOlly, I'm sure you would as well. You'd be all over that.
Yeah,
none of us have got EXPs, so
no, not yet. No, not yet. And I say yet because it's going to happen. It's just waiting for that moment to drop it, I think. I was really, really pleased with the whole thing, if I'm totally honest. I think I was probably in the same camp as Blunners. I think I gave it maybe like an 8 out of 10 when it was done. I thought it was just about the right benchmark. The only thing that would have pushed it over the edge for me would have been, I think we'd been speaking before a couple of weeks previous, an Earthworm Jim statue. That would have just pushed it into the stratosphere for me. But that's fine. I can let that go because we've got what I think is a really well curated collection of games coming.
Yeah.
The Delphine collection was just a total sucker punch for me.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolute sucker punch. What a superb collection of games. 4 games. I know from people say that there's less games, but Another World and Flashback alone as a dual cart, I would have been very, very pleased with.
Yeah, I love Flashback. Yeah.
It's great. Flashback's great. I haven't played Another World for decades, so I really am excited to go back to that. Operation Stealth, never played it, but I'm definitely up for that. And Future Wars is again something that I have never played myself either, so quite excited by that. But from reading online, the response to that cartridge has been, pretty mega. So I think that was a home run, that cartridge. Sydney Hunter series, I can't say I have ever played a Sydney Hunter game at all, much to Derek's aghast. But so I'm looking forward to checking that out, because again, it's a very beloved little franchise, and to be able to see it through a variety of 8-bit, 16-bit, that's going to be exciting. So that's going to be a completely
1 bit on the Intellivision.
Yeah, the 1 bit, but it's
I don't know if it is.
but that for me is going to be a completely fresh look at something for me. So I'm quite excited by that. Pico Arcade, lots of fighting games. I'm totally into that. Be the sort of thing I can see Tim, Mr. Triangle Face, getting very excited about as well. So that's going to be a big tick there. I actually was pleasantly surprised with the Sunsoft collection. I know lots of people are saying, "Oh, well, it's missing Batman, it's missing this," and it's like, yeah, but Batman's owned by Warner Brothers now, so
Yeah.
you ain't getting Batman ever again like that. That's just pipe dreams. But Aero, the Acrobat, is a big tick in the box for me. If you want to be having a physical cartridge of that in some format or other, that's a 50 quid complete boxed game. So, if the cartridge is $17.99 like the other ones are, or even $20.99, whatever it is, that's still going to be a good deal for me, even just for Aero alone. Then we've got things like Blaster Master, which are great. I never played Blaster Master Boy, so that's going to be a new one for me. And yeah, all the other games like Journey to Silas, that's a very cool game. So I was pleasantly surprised by the Sunsoft cart. Sure, there's a couple of big hitters that you could maybe have pulled out and put them on there, but I think that's a great intro to Sunsoft. There's a good variety of game types on there, so that was pretty cool. And then that massive one for me was Duke Nukem. Absolutely wouldn't have, if I had to place money down to say what I thought the big reveal was going to be, never in a million years would I have picked Duke Nukem. I don't know why. There's just something about it that just for me seems like that's unobtainable, or it's too out of the realms of where Evercade sort of wanted to be. And I think actually it's pitched perfectly at the current demographic who have probably picked up Evercade stuff. I have no doubt there'll be a lot of younger people who will maybe have never heard of Duke Nukem, and maybe they won't get to play it. But ultimately, this system is aimed at people our age. And to have Duke Nukem 1 and 2, like Ryan, I saw the word remaster and just thought, oh, it's just been, ported to Evercade and put in the correct aspect ratio and maybe given a little lick of paint. I didn't realize quite the extent and the effort that's gone into making those. And if they can retain that as an exclusive, even if just for 12 months time, that's going to be something. Little timed exclusive, that's going to be great. But that huge one for me is Duke Nukem 3D. So to have 1, 2, and 3D on one cart is mega. Again, 20 quid I'd have paid for Duke Nukem 3D on its own. If that was just on its own, yep, no problem, take my money, done, no worries. But to put it on with 1 and 2 remaster, that's a solid cartridge.
Yeah,
that's something I was saying after Tim. I was saying, sorry, Tim. It's because you're Tim then, Ollie. Sorry. That's something I was saying afterwards. Would you have paid more to just pay £30, say £30, for example, and had all of them on a bigger cartridge rather than having to now split and get your two? Because then it takes up 2 ports in your VS. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, I wouldn't mind paying more. Like you said, you'd pay more just for have them exclusives. But is this something we could have just seen on one cartridge?
I don't know.
Them MS-DOS, are they really going to be that big?
I don't know. Duke Nukem 3D it's not massive, but it's certainly not small. I don't know. And so if we've got things like Land of the Babes and other things like that are these other sort of PS1 third person games, I don't know, if you put too much on a cartridge, does it slow the game down? Does it hinder the amount of space? I mean, I'm definitely not the right person to ask whether that would happen or not. But there's a little part of me that quite likes that there's two collections there, because, you know, from memory, Duke Nukem 1, 2, and 3D kind of tell a very succinct story. And then I think things like Land of the Babes and the other ones that are on collection 2, I don't think really tie in, other than that it's Duke Nukem. I don't think they tie into the story as much. So I don't know.
I
Maybe
like what Ziggy's put here. Do you think they would unlock if you put them together?
Well, will you unlock a game, or would you
Ooh.
unlock, for instance, some downloadable DLC type thing like the Proton Pack? Do you remember those with it? Yeah, I mean, it's a shame they've been lost now, the internet. So, yeah, I mean, if you could unlock something like that, which would unlock some extra levels and things, yeah, I'd be definitely up for that.
Or a theme.
Yep.
So when it turns on, it's got like Duke Nukem going, "Ooh, yeah," saying something. Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to have something like that, hasn't it? It's got to.
Yeah.
Or what they could do, you could turn it on, put both cartridges in, and get that. So
there you go. See him value for money.
I knew you were going to do
Please
that.
be on that. Yeah.
get Iceman with his two belly buttons.
Yeah,
I mean,
just to say for a second about Blaster Master Boy, an interesting fact was that it's actually a sequel to Robo Warrior, which is actually a spin-off of the Bomberman series. But it was only here in the UK that we called it Blaster Master Boy. Obviously, in America, it was slightly different. So, but yeah, as I say, that just gives you a little bit of an insight. And yes, you can't get in a tank this time in the Blaster Master one on the Game Boy. He's on foot, but you can fire a gun, and also you can pick up bombs, which don't just destroy enemies, try destroying the environments as well.
Exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
That's quite interesting. Also, you said you haven't played Operation Stealth. In America, obviously, it was under the James Bond license, if you didn't know. And that was James Bond, 007, The Stealth Affair. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really, really interesting puzzles and sequences. And any James Bond fan really shouldn't miss this one, because I think once you get into it, you'll really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And a funny one for you, if you do play Future Wars, is if you put the speech on. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd use the text. If you put the speech on, they all sound like Stephen Hawking. So yeah, that's a bit of fun for everybody. So yeah, in that point and click adventure. So yeah, I think we've got a lot to look forward to.
There is a lot that, and then the announcement that there's going to be another 2 cartridges as well. That's another 4 cartridges. So another 4. Have I missed out on another 2 then? Or have I just drawn a complete memory file?
Well, it's 6 in total, isn't it, that we're getting?
Yeah, 6 in total, yes. There's 2 new ones being added to these 4, isn't there? Oh, on top of Duke Nukem. Hang on. Well, either way, there's another 2 coming in another period, isn't there?
There's a gap, isn't there, in the period? Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be
the timeline.
Yeah, you'll have 2 for October and 2 for December, won't you? Is that right?
And I think they said they're going to announce a bit more about those other 2 and the next showcase, which I'm sure will set everybody alight as to what's going to happen now. Because now that we've had, we'll come on to the July expectations in a minute, but because we've had the our whistles wetted with Duke Nukem and all the Sunsoft games and the Sydney Hunter series, it's like, wow, anything could happen right now, So I'm very excited. I think the future is looking very, very good. It was a very good showcase. I know you said on the podcast before the showcase watch, Derek, you said it needed to be all in, go big, go home type scenario, and I think it
had to be at this stage. I think
I think they pretty much threw the kitchen sink at it, and there's something for everybody. For people maybe that don't like Duke Nukem, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and for people that maybe weren't too happy with the first 4 carts and then suddenly get hit with the Duke Nukem collection, that might have turned it around for them as well. So I think it was as close to a home run as they could as they could hope for, actually. So, yeah, let's see what happens next. Okay, so this will be something that I'll hand over to you chaps for, and this is going to be the Pico 3 review. So let's go. Won't go to Blunners because he didn't get it, much like me. So
yeah, I didn't
we
get it.
will go to Mr. Ryan. What are your thoughts on the Pico 3 collection?
Okay, I only got this at the weekend, so I haven't had a chance to play every game on it yet, and I haven't put huge amounts of time into them. But as I mentioned earlier, Radical Bikers is a brilliant pick up and play game. Absolutely superb. You're on a little it's a moped or a motorbike, and you're delivering pizzas, and you're having to dodge other cars, and even like when you go past the police, the sirens go off. Really, really cool game. So yeah, I've put a lot of time into that. Zero tolerance, I died instantly. So I picked like because you can choose. I didn't realize that as you die, you become the next character, don't you? Which is quite. So I think there's 5 or 6 people, and like they're your lives basically. So when you die, you become someone else. I think that's how it works. So I picked the like goofy sort of scientist guy, and I just got annihilated straight away because I walked in a room, there was too many bad guys. But I think that's got a lot of legs, and it's nice to have a proper first-person shooter finally on Evercade. We're going to get Duke Nukem, which is going to, that's the thing, it's going to blow zero tolerance out the water, isn't it, when we get Duke Nukem and we start playing those games. Metal Mech is quite cool, where you're in the sort of like RoboCop bad guy machine, but you can actually, your little person can go out the machine and start sort of roaming around, and they've both got separate life bars. So yeah, that's not a bad game. I found the shooting mechanics on that game quite hard, trying to aim, because you've got to sort of like direct it, and if you press up, then your bullets will carry on going that way, and you've got to move it back down again. So I just went to the technique of just walking over things to kill them. So, jumping on them. Sorry, I found that the easiest way to do it. A game on this that did really surprise me was Sword of Soden, because and I put it on the Evercade Hangout actually, and a few people did comment on the trailers that I'd seen and from reviewers. They just seem to show that first bit where your male or female characters walking across the screen, and the bad guys have all got spears, and it seems very difficult, which it is. But once you get past that bit, the next levels are actually a bit more easier, because the bad guys have got like axes, so their range isn't so big. And then I ended up fighting like 2 massive giants and chopped one of their heads off, which was quite satisfying. Like they just laid on the floor with its like head with blood rolling out of it. And there's like a humongous dragon as well. And so Sword of Soden is actually not as bad as people think it is, and I would recommend giving that a go. And just get past that first level, and it's actually quite a good game. Punch King, didn't like, too difficult, not as good as Punch Out, or the one that's on Mega Cats 1. I can't remember the name. Creepy Brawlers.
Creepy Brawlers.
Yeah, I think that's better than Punch King. Stanley, The Search of Dr. Livingston, I gave a brief little go, but you just need to talk to too many people at the start, so I haven't got any further with that. And 40 Winks, I haven't played yet, mainly because I just worry that it's going to be one of those 3D PS1 games that weren't particularly good. So I really need someone to tell me, actually give it a go, and it is actually quite a good game. So for that reason, I haven't played it yet. I want to, but I'm just worried that I'll pull it on and the camera angles will be all. Do you remember the early PS1 games where the camera was all over the place? A bit like, I guess, Tomb Raider would be an example of that, or Resident Evil.
Back in the day, the camera wasn't
so that's
quite
what's
there,
put me
was
off
it?
playing 40 Winks. But yeah, I would recommend this car, and it's a lot better than Pico 2, I would say. Definitely a step up from Pico 2, but not as good as Pico 1.
Okay. That's a fairly solid review. I'd say that's a fairly solid review. Mr. Derek, so Top Hat, how do you feel about the games on here? Can you
Yeah.
convince Ryan to dive on 40 Winks?
Yeah, I mean, Pico seemed to have put a fairly solid collection here. Yeah, 40 Winks. It can be a little bit intimidating to start with. They are those 3D world environments like we had with Spyro, but I think it's got a lot to do. I mean, as you lose your energy, you can collect the little Zs to keep them asleep. Now, camera angles, you can control them with L1 and R1. So just tap those buttons or hold them, and you can swing it to where you want pretty much. And I don't think there's many angles you can get to. You can also go into first person if you suddenly did get an angle that you weren't. Put it onto first person and then use your camera to position it where you want it. And but yeah, I mean, you'll need a lot of time. It's quite ferociously big, but it's definitely worth the adventure. And there's lots of exciting things in this dream world to explore and monsters to fight and especially things to collect. And I love that. Especially, I remember playing games like Banjo-Kazooie, which are very similar with lots to collect. And yeah, this is very sort of similar. And yeah, there's plenty around. So make sure you look up, look down, have a look under a bridge, whatever goes, because you don't want to miss any of that treasure. I just love it. So yeah, excellent game. Yeah, definitely worth the time. Yeah, I had a quick go on Punch King. I knocked out about the first 3 boxes. I used to have it on the Game Boy Advance. So yeah, I'm quite sort of accustomed to it. I love all the speech on it when the man announcing at the beginning and the count when you knock him out. Yeah, it's just fantastic, that is. So yeah, yeah, it takes me into the moment, and it does take a bit of getting used to. Remember, each boxer has a certain way of being beaten, a bit like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. So like the first guy, get those body shots in. He's very susceptible to those, and once he sort of crouches down, then go for the head. And make sure, as I say, you have a look at the instructions manual for swinging left and right to get out of the way, because it's not as obvious as you might think it will be. So yeah, once you pick up the technique, yeah, you're away. And yeah, I think there is a lot of fun there, but it does take practice. So don't expect to just get on there and start knocking people out.
Like me, just went in all guns blazing and was just knackered and couldn't throw a punch for about 5 minutes. That's probably my mistake.
Yeah, conserve your energy. Yeah, I mean, Stanley's Search for Livingston, yeah, fun game. But yeah, you do have to talk to a lot of people to start with. But once you get past that point, there's some great sections where you can use your gyrocopter that's in your rucksack. And this is just fantastic. If you've ever played Hero on Atari, you'll know about the little gyrocopter that can pop out and guide you to a nice, slow, steady descent. And yeah, there's lots of fun to be had through those sections. So yeah, it's worth persevering with. But yeah, to start with, yeah, there's a fair old few people to have a chinwag with and people you've got to track down and things like that. But yeah, once you do, yeah, the adventure's afoot, and it's yeah, it's definitely worth a go.
Okay.
Radical Bikers, of course, what a gem. Absolutely fantastic. If you enjoy a bit of Crazy Taxi or something like that, you're going to love this Game Boy Color game. It's just awesome. You get to select your moped to start with. And I must just point out, if you do complete, say, the medium level, you'll unlock the harder one. And also with the money, if you've collected enough, you'll be able to purchase the more expensive mopeds, which can go faster or jump higher. And you can catch those ramps and make sure you get all the extra goodies. You can get a lightning bolt, for instance, which will make you go faster, or you can pick up a boot, which will allow you to kick a car as you go past. So yeah, there's lots of great fun on Radical Bikers, and yeah, first level, of course, you deliver a margarita pizza, so it shouldn't be too taxing. But after that, if you don't corner really tightly, if you don't pay attention to those shortcuts, and you don't watch out for those crazy drivers, yeah, you've got no chance. So yeah, it's definitely worth your time.
Excellent. So that is a big thumbs up from you two then, as a cart that needs to be explored. I'm really glad that you've all picked out some of those games to kind of highlight. I think maybe some of the slightly quirkier things, because like you said, Ryan, a lot of people were sort of like, oh, that game just looks not so great, and you've sort of pulled out. No, actually, it is. You've just got to get through this first bit that seems to be the repetition of the that first little sequence, and then again, just pulling out on certain things like, yes, get through this talkative moments in this other game, and you will start to uncover this great mystery. So I think that's really good that we can kind of do that on this podcast and sort of pull things out a little bit more for people that maybe weren't overly sold on certain things. And then we're going to move on to the next cartridge, of course. Now this, for me, the Team 17 cartridge. This one, I think, is going to be the one that I pick up next, if I'm honest. I don't manage to get every Evercade cartridge on release. I'm a bit sparing with them. I think I've got maybe 16, including some of the arcades. But this one, I think, is a must, predominantly for Alien Breed. It's a game I remember seeing lots of people play. I remember seeing it in all the games magazines and thinking, I need to play this game. Did it ever come to Super Nintendo or anything like that? No, of course it didn't. And I still to this day have never played it. So I am very, very excited about the Team 17 cartridge. So let's go, because Blunners didn't get to talk on the last one. Mr. Blunners, what do you think of the Team 17 cart?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's, as I was saying, there's a couple of games on there I'm not too interested in, like the bowling, and I wasn't a fan of body blows, like I said earlier. But ATR racing, all terrain racing, I love that game. I just remember it as my brother bringing it back years ago, and like it just took me a few goes to get the turn and get the steering right, get that muscle memory back in again, get them power ups, and then upgrade your car. Yeah, amazing, really good. So like my first one, I think I came last. The next one I came fourth, and then straight away, then I was fighting for first place after that. Like once you mastered the steering, because I think the first time I just literally just hit this and just skidded out, and then you're like chasing your tail for the rest of that race. But yeah, really enjoyed that game. Obviously the Alien Breed games. I remember playing 2. I vaguely remember 1, but number 2 I hadn't played. So when I turned that on, then I was literally helicopters flying everywhere. And I'm like hitting fences, trying to get through fences that aren't letting me in. And I'm like, like everyone's like, you're literally having to move out of the way. And then like, you are low on ammo. I'm like just firing my gun away aimlessly, and then realised that was it player 1 needs health as I kept getting. So yeah, so once I worked out where to go and get actually in there, and then you start, then the real fun starts. But and Quark is a good game as well. Really enjoyed that. Didn't realise it was you run out of eggs. I didn't realise you could run out of eggs. Says me like, but once you worked out the patterns, and the one thing, when you take too long, instantly all these boulders start like landing on your head, so you have to hurry up and try and get the hell out of there. But it's a really good little game, that one. Trying to think what else. So Project X, as I was saying earlier, it gets a bit crazy. But you literally, once you work out the patterns of who you're going against, you can kind of I was getting further and further every time. Arcade Pool, I vaguely remember as well as a child. There's me. I was trying to cut these little corners, you're there like trying to work out because you're kind of like moving to where you want to hit the ball precisely. So like give it a little bit of power, put a bit of backspin on it, just like you're down the pub trying to set up for the next shot, and then it just goes flying everywhere. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, really good cart. I really recommend it. I would definitely, people should be picking this up. Definitely. Oh, he's on mute. Doesn't realise.
I'm on mute. That was the phrase of 2020, that wasn't it? You're on mute. Yeah, I'm. Quite a few people have been talking about the Team 17 cart. Obviously, the Gebs24, friend of the channel, she's massive into Amiga, and she talked about the American pool game quite a lot. And a lot of people do say how good it is. For a game that is basically pool. And there's loads of pool games out there. This one seems to be one that people go, actually, no, this one's pretty good. It's really good fun. So, yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by all the various games on this one. Again, the Alien Breed, Paul, like, yeah, and Quiet. I'm just, yeah, I think I'm sold on this one. I think this one's coming home soon. Mr. Andrews. Mr. Andrews, Team 17. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, just before I get into cart, can I say like how amazing that artwork is on that cover?
It is
really
great.
good.
Lovely.
Really good. I wish they would make as much effort with the back covers as they do the front, because
Do better.
they used to be so much better than that. It's just so boring now. I
Mm,
don't know why they ever even changed it. But yeah, I think this is one of the best cartridges that's come out for a long time, if I'm honest.
okay, that is praise.
Yeah, Alien Breed is good, but frustrating at the same time, because you have to collect keys, and if you run out of keys, you can't get through doors, and then you have to go back and try and find the keys. Alien Breed 1, you can tell is quite an early game, but it's still playable. Alien Breed 2, I'm like Ollie, it's just too hard with the helicopters, and it's just like, oh my god, it's too much going on, dead. So yeah, that's quite difficult. But Alien Breed Tower Assault, what a game, like what an intro to a game that is. Like, you start, and is it on this one where they immediately tell you someone's died, and then you start moving, and then there's like blooming bombs firing everywhere and asteroids firing down, and then yeah, really good. And then when you eventually get indoors, there's like aliens eating scientists, and then you hear yourself say, oh, I feel so sorry for them, or something like that, and they're being eaten alive. And yeah, so that's really good. Yeah, really fun. Really fun. I'll bring it into work, Ollie, tomorrow, and you can see what it's like. Cause
that'd be great. I'd love to have a little play, because Father's Day's coming up. I don't think Saren's in the chat, is she, to sort of drop that hint, but Father's Day's approaching, so maybe Team 17 could be in the little Father's Day package.
Get it for him now. Order now.
Order it, definitely. A game that Blunners didn't touch on is Full Contact. What is all that about? I know it's Team 17's first game. It's like a martial arts fighting game.
Okay.
Graphically, it looks quite nice.
What's a jumping?
I believe, yeah. The jumping is very bizarre. Yeah. Your character is meant to be a young sort of boy, isn't he? He looks about 60 years old. I thought he was like some old. Yeah, I thought he was an old man as well, but he's meant to be quite young. It could have been so much better than what it is, but the energy bars are about that long, and they take so long to go down. Whether it's I'm not very good at the game and I need to get better to do better moves.
Possible.
But it's not great, but I guess it's got a bit of a story to it, and it's Team 17's first game. So I understand why it's on there. And I would never have played that game if it wasn't on this cartridge. And you can have a go tomorrow, Ollie, see what it's like. Body Blows, I was quite disappointed with. And for a 1994 fighting game, bear in mind, I was playing Mortal Kombat on Mega Drive in 1994. So that's what I'm comparing it to. I've got no nostalgia for Body Blows, and having a fighting game with one hit button. And Blunners touched on this before we went on air. If you hit the Y button, it resets the game. Why they didn't deactivate that, I don't know. It's just one of those, especially when you're playing it for the first time. You're like, right, what do and I know it. If you read this, it tells you in there. But even then, I thought, oh, maybe surely more than one button does something on a fighting game, but it doesn't. But the character models look great. It's just the gameplay let it down. But that could have been such a good game. If they had just added more controls to it back then. Kingpin Bowling, it's just bowling. It is what it is, just a bowling game. But it's okay. I like to put the power to maximum, heaviest ball, and then just watch it go straight down the gutter, because I cannot line it up for the life of me.
Do you know, I'm a fan of a bowling game. I do like a good bowling game. One of my favorite things to do in GTA 4 was go bowling. It seemed to work quite well. So I'm a fan of a bowling game.
Yeah, no, it's it would probably be okay with mates, I think, rather than playing it by yourself.
Okay.
Arcade Pool, I haven't had a chance to play yet, so I can't comment on that. Project X, I haven't played because I don't like shoot 'em ups, as everyone knows. And Quack is quite a cool single screen, sort of like Snow Brothers. Is that the one? Is it Snow Bros? Snow Bros. Is that it? The one that's the arcade game where you
Oh
fire
yes, it is. Yes,
the
yes. I'm
snowballs.
sure it's called Snow Bros. Yes.
Is it Snow Bros? It just reminded me of that a little bit, where it's a single screen game where you've got to collect things and then you move on to the next screen. But yeah, I fully recommend it. I know I said there was a couple of games that I didn't particularly like, but I just get it for Alien Breed Tower Assault because that is such a cool game. So good. So good.
Okay. That's a big sell from you as well then, Mr. Ryan. The one game, or not the one game, but one of the games on there that is selling it to me the most from nostalgic memories of never playing it, but just seeing the pictures. That's a good upsell from yourself. And Mr. Derek, Team 17, take it away.
Well, first of all, let's do a massive, massive round of applause to everybody in the comments section and everybody around the world, because this week, of course, Team 17 has come inside of the top 40 UK physical releases. Now, obviously, at the top, you've got the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and it easily fended off Street Fighter 6, which obviously crashed into second place. So we're all quite surprised at that. But at number 40 is Team 17 Amiga cartridge by Blaze Entertainment. And that knocked the mighty Lord of the Rings Gollum off the number 40 spot. So, that shows you the power of this company.
You wait until a very, very quick tangent, but you wait until the next ModCons when we start talking about the Gollum game. For a Lord of the Rings game to be ported to be this terrible is just unacceptable. So the fact that something like Team 17 has come along and gone, this is how you do it. Get out of here, Gollum. That's cool. That's really cool. And that is a real achievement for Blaze Entertainment. You know, a company from the UK who've only been making the Evercade product and cartridges for just over 3 years, and they've now hit a top 40 game. That's an achievement.
Absolutely. Let's get those Duke Nukems inside. I want to see 35 or under. So hopefully, if they get the support, I'm hoping they will. I'd like to see us get inside that top 40 now. Let's get down to 35, 33. That would be wonderful and outstanding, considering some of the competition that's hanging around in these charts these days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as for the actual cartridge itself, I've been inundated with endless messages since its release due to the fact of Alien Breed. A lot of people are discovering it for the first time. And the biggest question they keep coming up with is they're collecting all this money. How can they spend it? Now, for anybody that doesn't know, that's in the comments section, or anybody watching this podcast, you'll find there's little computers around in every section. And if you go to it, it'll activate. And then from there, you can choose weapons and all sorts of other goodies. I don't want to spoil it, but that's the place where you go to spend your money. So they're actually built in like a cash point on the wall. So that's what you're looking for.
There we go. Top tips.
But also, as Ryan said, you can, in some sections, if you're not careful, run out of keys. Now, what I always do is a bit crafty. I always wander around and try and look inside the room before I open the doors. So I see how many keys are in there. So if there's 3 in that one and only 1 in that one, I'll open that one first and get the 3 keys. Then I'll go around and open the one with 1 in. Yeah. And sometimes you'll get a section of a few of them in a row. But if you can get it right, you can open all the doors up. But as I say, easy does it. Don't be too eager to just open one. Yeah.
I made that mistake earlier. Got locked out.
I just smashed through the door. So I'm just like dunk, 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 dunk all the way through. And then I'm like, oh, bugger, I ain't got no more keys for the other doors.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy an extra set of keys from the shop again if you want to, but obviously it is going to cost you thousands of your gold, so it might not be worth doing. You might want to spend that on more firepower and really load yourself up so those aliens know what's coming. So it's 100% worth a go, and obviously if you can get it in multiplayer as well, even better. So totally. Alien Breeds are cracking on there. And as we've already touched on, obviously, Tower Assault. Yeah, I mean, what a monster. I don't know any other way you can play it, actually. I don't know if they've uploaded it to Steam or anything like that, but yeah, a lot of people have been discovering that for the first time. Even if, like me, you had Alien Breed 1 and 2 originally. Yeah, I didn't hang around for Tower Assault. So, yeah, it's a fantastic game. And as I say, I don't want to spoil it too much for people, but yeah, it's highly action-packed and definitely worth it. One I've had a lot of fun with is Project X. I used to play the original before this special edition, which is actually slightly harder. But the thing that makes it simple is what the team forgot, or maybe they included them as a reason. You'll actually find a lot of blind spots in there. For instance, when the asteroid belt comes along, just go to the bottom of the screen and you'll avoid the entire asteroid belt. So obviously, if you want points, then obviously, yeah, get within the asteroid belt and blow them up. Also with bosses, I think it's either the second or the third one, I found a complete blind spot where he couldn't get me, and then I just blew him away. So yeah, with 0 damage. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities there, but you, as I say, play about, see what works for you. But yeah, there are a lot of places in stages where you can avoid a lot of hassle if you know where you're going. So yeah, that's definitely worth reviewing.
Excellent.
Stick with body blows. That's what I'd say. Yes, you only hold one. If you hold one button down, you'll charge up your special move. And then obviously, once you've let that go, let your special move, it'll take longer next time to charge it up again. So yeah, be careful where you use it. But yeah, towards the end of the fight is obviously a good one if you've got the computer on the back foot. But yeah, as I say, play about with the characters. Find one that's comfortable for you. It's just the same as something like Street Fighter 2. Everybody's got their favorite fighter, and sometimes until you gel with that right fighter, yeah, it doesn't feel right. Another one I always have an enormous amount of fun on is Arcade Pool. To anybody that's playing this perhaps for the first time, you'll see there's a little white line that points towards the ball. That's where your white ball's going. That's not where the ball you're about to hit. So say the red or the yellow pool ball, that the white ball's going in that direction. So be vigilant of that, because obviously if you pop the white ball, you'll put the computer back in charge. And he's rather ferocious. He's like Jimmy White on speed. So yeah, if you give him an opportunity, yeah, the whirlwind will clear up. So 100%, yeah, you want to practice your angles, get used to your power. Once you've set where the ball's going, go to the bottom of the screen, and then you can click on how much power you want to use. Also click on the white ball with the dot, and you can choose the spin you're going to get on the ball. So all these sorts of things you've got to try and calibrate a little bit before you actually just mindlessly fire the shot. And that way, as I say, you'll take out old Steve Handley quite quickly and move on to certainly more difficult players later on. Yeah.
Excellent. This cart is being upsold, so that's it. That is the next cartridge coming through the door. It's Team 17. The decision was sort of made before we started. I was just going to see whether the Pico 3 could swing the deal, but I think it's Team 17 all the way, I think, on this one. Pico 3 will be picked up as well, though, because I do want the oh god, I got it wrong on the last time we talked about it. The PS1 title.
40 Winks.
40 Winks.
Yeah, 40 Winks.
I do want to play that. But I think Alien Breed and the American Pool is just snookering it for me. So I'm going to have to take that one. Excellent. If anybody does have any random questions they want to ask anyone on the panel, I know we've got a couple starred. I also know we're going just slightly over our time frame today, but do chuck them in the chat and we'll see if we can get to them quickly at the end. So very quickly then, last topic, July showcase expectations. The showcase that they put on the other day, as we've all sort of said, was a pretty good home run. I think there was enough there for people to walk away feeling very content. So I think, like I said earlier, this for me has it's changed the game with what we can expect from Evercade and from Blaze. Nothing appears to be off the table now. I mean, yes, all right, we're not going to get Super Mario World, we're not going to get Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and all of that sort of stuff that we can get readily available still from the original, the original creators. You can still get it on Switch and all this kind of stuff. So those pipe dreams are out the water. But with the announcement of Duke Nukem, it's kind of turned everything on its head for me. It's like, okay, there are some big games come into this system. So July showcase, Mr. Sir Topham Hat. Let's see if we can analyze the micro movements of your face for what we can expect in July.
Goodness gracious. Yes, the July blowout. Certainly to give us our second volume of the showcase. It's going to be very exciting. Indie games, of course, is the main focus this time. It'd be great to see a dual cart, wouldn't it? Especially with something along the lines of WrestleQuest from Mega Cat Studios. I think people would absolutely love that. So, especially with all the great licenses they've managed to sign for it. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully, potentially, I'd love to see that on a collection. And yeah, obviously, what other indie games would we like to see? I mean, would we like an Atari Lynx indie collection? Something from Songbird Pro, perhaps, with like Slicks on, which is a great little racing game. Something like that would be, I mean, that would definitely break things up a little bit. It'd be great to see a Mega Cat Studios collection separately, because there's still a lot of Mega Cat games that I really, really rate that we haven't seen yet. And it'd be fantastic to see something like that. It'd be great to see Wave Games, of course, if they could bring even a dual cart. I'd love to play Shadow Gangs. Absolutely mad for that game because I particularly enjoyed Vigilante years ago, and it's very, very similar. So, yeah, that would be a big plus for me. Will we see any surprises? I'm sure they'll have something in store for us, perhaps even for October. Will we see an arcade joystick or wireless controllers, or perhaps even what about an EXP XL, or perhaps one that's themed with a game would be fantastic as well. So yeah, I mean, it's all to play for here. And remember, once those cartridges are announced, as I always say to people, and this is the only down point to this, people are never interested in what you've done. They're interested in what you're doing right now. So in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, when those announcements aren't coming, are people still going to be jumping for joy? So they've got to leave us in this July showcase with no stone unturned. It's got to be really big, and it's got to give us a total blowout for the rest of the year.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. A dual cart, I think that's a very good suggestion that might come. There's that little part of me, just because I'm a big fan of the studio. I know Ryan is as well. Bitmap, I would love to see Bitmap dual cart or dual collection come to Evercade. I'd love to see something like Final Vendetta and Battle Axe both on the Evercade. That would be games. That would be a phenomenal for anyone that hasn't played those. They are stunning games. I would argue that Final Vendetta, it's not as long as Streets of Rage, but gameplay wise, it's up there. It's up there with Streets of Rage, if not a fraction better. There's just something about Final Vendetta that I adore. So I'd love to see that as a cart. Mr. Ryan, July expectations, what you thinking?
Well, I don't really know. Because Duke Nukem's so big, it's going to be difficult to live up to those expectations unless they can get like a...
Derek,
here we go.
Tease.
If they can get Final Vendetta, then that's going to draw people in. If it's the smaller studios, great, but it's not going to bring in a new audience. But it will shift cartridges. It's what Blaze want to do. Do they want to grow this audience, or do they want to make the audience they have happy? And I don't really know where they go with it, to be honest, because Wave Game Studios, using them as an example, Intrepid Izzy, really nice looking game. The guys, I've met the guys at OLL last year. They're really cool guys. It'd be great to see those games on Evercade. But is the reaction going to be the same as what it was when we got Duke Nukem? Unfortunately it's not, and that's no disrespect to Wave at all, because what they do is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to match the last announcement. It's difficult. They in my mind they would have been better off just doing it in one, than just doing everything in one go. and having, like what Sir Top Hat said, having something that's available straight away to purchase.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I think where they said this one's going to be more indie focused, that makes me think that the Evercade is going to start, maybe not completely, but definitely not just having one Indie Heroes collection a year and the odd little smattering of indies throughout the year. It's going to be a little bit more like, no, here, there's going to be the Indie Heroes cart, and then we might do a couple of other carts that are just solidly, modern retro games, which is pretty much what the Evercade, in my opinion, has been built for. Some of the best cartridges are the indie ones. So, I think this could be really cool. This could be really, really cool. Like you say, Ryan, does it bring new people? I don't know. The indie market is big. It's a really big market. And I think a lot of people actually prefer indie titles than they do to some of the AAA titles at the moment. You're still going to have your knockouts. Like, when the new Witcher game gets a trailer, that's going to kill the internet. When GTA 6 eventually gets released, or the trailer for that comes out, that's going to kill the internet. So you're always going to have these huge AAA titles that will always sell bucket loads. But the indie market is just so big now. People love it. And if you've got a system that you could dedicate to just indie games, I don't know, maybe that could bring in a few more new people, or certainly maybe get some new developers to come over as well. And new people are very loyal, I think, to developers and certain companies. I know I certainly am. So yeah, it could be interesting. Mr. Blunners, what do you think? Have you got anything that you think could come in the July announcement?
Yeah, so when you say the word indie, what comes to mind is Shovel Knight, and I'd love to see a Shovel Knight collection. So that's one thing. So that was like when they first started throwing them around. I know there's a collection on Switch. As I've got these amiibo of characters I don't know anything about, but yeah. So I think the main guy, Shovel Knight, I think might be making as well, because he's on everything else. So I don't see why he isn't just jumping over to Evercade with us.
That would be very cool. I've been playing that on, I know we talked about it on ModCons last. I've managed to finally pick up the 3DS version that I've been eyeing up for God knows how long. Got it for a steal. Loving it, absolutely loving it, and playing it on the 3DS. I was like, yeah, this would fit real nice on an Evercade. So yeah, Shovel Knight, good shout. That would be fantastic.
Also, yeah, this wrestling game
that
Derek
keeps game. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this wrestling game that Derek keeps promising me is another one I would love to see. But yeah, like we've kind of like covered. It's like Ryan's saying, it's kind of hard to beat what they've already shown. I'd like to know a bit about this new company as well that they're part on the side. I'd like to know a bit more about that and what it entails. Like we said before, hoping for some sort of like Dizzy or an Earthworm Jim amiibo type statue kind of thing. So stuff like that, I think would be brilliant. But yeah, so I'd like to know a little bit about this new company, because like I said, I don't really know how else can they bring it. It's quite hard.
There's a few people in the chat. I know Derek said about an arcade stick and wireless controllers.
Yeah.
We're seeing a few people in the chat mention a mouse. I know Rob Taylor's just put it up there saying he can see a mouse coming up as an announcement. I mean, that in itself would be very cool for them to sort of say, here's the indie stuff that we're talking about. And actually what we're also going to now release is, here's a wireless controller. If you want an Evercade branded controller, here's a wireless one. Here's an arcade stick, and here's a mouse. That would be cool. That would be a big tick for me, I think. It doesn't have to be, completely new hardware, but just additional little peripherals. I think that would be pretty cool. I could see them doing that and see people walking away from that going, yeah, I'm into that. That's cool. Yeah, interesting. Lots of people there. So Mr. Pete Snestastic there saying, not sure it could ever happen, but Wolfenstein 3D Doom dual cart, that would be kind of cool. That would be cool. I mean, Wolfenstein and Doom, that's who owns that now? I know it's id, but who's the company that does all the new Wolfenstein? Bethesda. They do Doom and Wolfenstein now, don't they? So I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, Gearbox is massive. So yeah, when you
Yeah,
think of it in that terms, yeah, it's not off the table.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not a bad shout. Okie dokie. So two very quickly starred comments. So we'll start with Mr. Taylor's, purely because I think we've probably just covered it for you there, Mr. Taylor. So, dear Derek and panel, with the recent Evercade showcase being so good, what are your expectations for July? Hopefully, we've kind of given you what we think would be good from the July one there. Obviously, chuck in the chat
Papillon
there.
on the Mega Drive. Look it up, Papillon. That's a
Papillon.
fantastic side scroller. Better than Streets of Rage, I think. So yeah,
Ooh,
that'd be great.
Fighting talk. That is.
Did the eyebrows go up? I didn't see.
We'll have to go back. And watch. And we did ask people throughout the chat, do chuck in what you want to see some AI art created of, because of Ryan's AI created Duke Nukem art. We will, for the next podcast, show you some of our AI creations. And Ziggy is there. He wants some AI art of Dizzy. I would personally love to do some Dizzy AI in a realistic style. Treasure Island
Humpty
Dizzy
Dumpty.
in a realistic style. I can be into that. So yeah, people do throughout the when this goes live.
There's that picture, Ryan.
After this, when he gets up. Oh, go on. For people that have joined late, here are some of Ryan's AI created Duke Nukem characters. Take it away, Ryan.
Here's a new one that I've not shown yet.
Oh,
this is my favourite.
Oh, you'll be looking at that tonight. Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
He's printed it out.
Here we go.
I mean, that previous one is just Duke Nukem, but he's eaten far too many hot dogs and has gone to the Super Bowl, isn't it?
Duke Nukem with Mahatma Gandhi, if you just joined us, which I don't know what's happened there. Duke Nukem with Winston Churchill. Here he is.
Look at those trousers. Look at those shorts.
Go. That's the one they should be. But I think personally, if they could use that one, that'd be great.
Unbelievable. AI art of Zool. Okay. AI Philip Schofield. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe not.
Oh, there we are. Yeah, the lube. Oh no,
there's memes already out there for that.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is going to go to a dark place if we're going there. But I'm all into
that. We're keeping the game characters.
So if you come up with some other suggestions, do chuck it in the chat. Who do you want to Duke Nukem beating up Philip Schofield?
Oh, God.
Outside the ITV studios. Right. This is going to take a real turn. I can feel it.
Just end it there, then.
Yeah, people chuck in the chat if you're watching this back. Who do you want to see some AI video game creators, AI video game characters, created by AI? We'll do as many as we can for the next one.
Get that off the screen.
Oh, now.
I mean, that's not too soon, is it? We can start making those sorts of jokes, but yeah,
because we're going live.
Yeah.
Right. So what that leaves me to say now is thank you, everyone who has been watching live. It's again been a very, very lively chat, which is always welcomed. So thank you, everyone, for joining live. Thank you for everyone for jumping in on the chat there. Like we say, if you're watching this back, chuck in who you want to see some AI characters created by. And yeah, let us know in the chat whether you've picked up Pico 3, whether you've picked up Team 17. What do you think of them? And also, what are your expectations for the July showcase? Let us know in the chat. Let's keep the conversation going. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. It's wonderful to be back. Walt Ryan's itching to say something there.
Just before we go, in 2 weeks, we may have a very, very special guest with us.
Oh, yes.
You do not want to miss it.
Oh, yes. Oh, man, I really would love to be able to drop a hint as to who that could be. How can we drop that hint without giving it away?
Just have a go for it with him in the broom cupboard.
Oh, Derek
He's
in there
not
with the
doing-
naughty
he's not
straight
doing
away.
He's come
anything
down
with
a
his
little bit
days.
now. He's not on
Yeah.
this morning.
When
He's-
is this
he's
next
coming.
stream? 2 weeks. 2 weeks Monday.
Yes,
2 weeks today.
2 weeks Monday, Scott, or 2 weeks today, Scott.
2 weeks
Um,
today. We should have, all being well, a really big guest with us, and we're really looking forward to it.
and yeah, it is definitely someone we're really looking forward to. It's someone that
And
we've been.
do make sure you're subscribed, because we will be putting a 1-day subscription if you want to comment on that chat, because we want to give you guys the opportunity to get your comments in, rather than people who are just going to jump in on the day and then disappear again. So so we will be doing that. So we will make sure you loyal people who are always here will get your opportunity to get questions in.
Excellent. So there we go. Chuck that date in your diaries. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and give that bell a little tickle, just like Ryan said there, so that you are fully aware as to when the guest is announced. Do head on over, as you can see on Ryan's chat there, to the Evercade Hangout on Facebook. There's always a lot of very good discussions going on in that group. We'd love to keep those conversations going over. If you have Twitter, please do jump on Sir Top on Hat on Twitter. Mr. Derek has a lot of great content, a lot of great followers on there. He is your one-stop shop for everything Evercade related. So please jump on over there, give Derek a follow. I think all that leaves us to do is just to thank everyone again for joining us live. And we will see you all in 2 weeks' time. So thank you, everybody, and good evening.
Oh, I've got to press the button.